Jersey City is such a part of my personality, and it's a part of my character. The diversity of the community, the sense of community, the spirit, the blue-collar nature, the toughness. It's a part of the fight I have in me, and then the emotion and passion that I have, not just about basketball, which you see on the sidelines when I start to lose my mind, but it's also the same passion that I put into my family and how hard I fight for them. But yeah, I mean, that Jersey City mentality and emotion, it certainly shows up on game night in a great way most of the time, sometimes a little over the top.
Coach, what's up, man? How are you, buddy?
Sorry I'm late, man.
In your house. UConn guys are always on time.
Maybe run me a little bit for being late.
Hey, man, you got me in your house. I can't complain. I'm honored to be on this spot, man. Let's get to the championship season. Describe what that journey was like for you last year.
Roller coaster. The season starts off like a rocket ship. You go through that stretch in January where, it's part schedule, part, you're not leading and managing and coaching as well as you need to. Part players going through a slump together at the same time, and you find yourself having that self-doubt, all the external noise. But Andre Jackson, Adama Sanogo, the incredible leaders, they grabbed that team around the throat, and we get it going in February, and I just kept telling the team that we're going to be that team again.
So going into the year, you guys weren't even ranked. So I know you, man. You are a competitor. Yeah. How much was that a part of your motivation with the team? Did you talk to them about that?
Yeah, that chip was there right from the beginning. We ended up winning the chip, but that chip was there, man. And yeah, I mean, that bothered me because I felt like we had 3 NBA players with Hawkins, Sanogo, and Andre Jackson. We knew we had potentially had a squad, and to be unranked at UConn when you have a lot of pieces felt disrespectful.
You guys were so dominant. Were you feeling that going through, or were you just getting by each game?
During the Arkansas game, I remember looking at Kamani Young, associate head coach, and he had this look like it was going too well, and I just said to Kamani, don't look at me like that. I think we're up 29 with, 12 to go in the second half versus a team that just beat the #1 seed. But the level that we were playing at, the unique style and the way the team was constructed, just everything that was in place, we didn't have to play a close game. We were a dominant team.
Sanogo, little hook. Here it is, up and over Mensah. Now here's Hawkins. Oh my goodness, what a shot that was.
Are you serious?
You run it out, and it's in the hands of the coach's son.
How about that? Is that appropriate?
This is becoming a family dynasty, if you will.
In the history of one of the most storied programs in college basketball, you cemented your legacy.
You've had some time to reflect on the national championship. Is there one special moment that you remember clearly?
Probably bus pulling up to the Houston hotel and the people in the street, like the UConn fans, as we got within like a block, right? Now they're climbing out of windows on the 3rd floor, like the champions. They're here. It was unreal.
45,000 people at a parade for a national champion. You're with your family, your players, your staff. What was that moment like for you?
Unreal, man. I wanted to pull a J.R. Smith and go shirtless.
This group, they strived for 5. That was all we thought about the whole year. We got strive for 5, get that 5th national championship. Now we really just want to get our minds to making sure that we're back in the mix to get number 6.
During the parade, did you want to scream like, or you probably did, like, we did this, like it's off your shoulders?
Yeah, we did there. I mean, there was straight joy, right? Because you're around the players, you're around the staff, the trainer, the strength coach, you know, your wife, Andrea, your kids, Danny and Andrew. It's like all the people that have really gotten you to that point, right? And then it's all your fans. This is the biggest thing, right? That's going to happen in downtown Hartford, like UConn basketball and parade.
I heard a rumor that when President Biden called you, you sent it to voicemail?
I did. I sent it to voicemail. And I lied to the media like 2 or 3 times. I thought it was somebody that either wanted a job, somebody wants to go to the portal. So I don't know the number, it's not familiar. I said initially I was on the phone with a recruit, I wasn't. Then I think I said I was on the phone with Andrea, and I wasn't. I think I was just on the phone BSing. But I got the voicemail, and maybe it's better now, because now I got a voicemail from Joe Biden.
Good point.
Which I could save and have cocktail party, whatever.
With Coach Hurley's family in the stands and the sidelines on the court, and the country got to see what it means to devote your whole life to a shared passion. And Coach, you had an unwavering, unyielding belief in this team, and it was clear, and it made a difference. This team is proof that there's no quit in UConn, just like there's no quit in America, none.
When we won for the first time, I remember just feeling like, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe the President of the United States even knows who we are. Did you have that kind of feeling?
Yeah, you're like in a different realm. It's like only champions go there. You say to yourself, like, it's hard to get here. In the locker room in Houston, I was like, we go to the White House now, right? I always would really dread speaking after Gino or Emma. This is a whole nother level of fear right here coming up here.
Did you get the feeling of how important it was to everybody around you, and you feel so good that you were a part of enabling people to do that, to be there at the White House and meet the president?
You're a part, like you played in a leadership role to put a group in a position to be there for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Being able to come through on promises you made at a press conference when they looked at me at Rhode Island as a coach that still had some work to do, to be able to pay people back for believing in you, incredible.
How has your life changed since winning the national championship?
It's definitely a feeling of joy when you get the moments to like think about what the whole thing meant in terms of everything you've put into this game that sometimes hasn't always been that good to you, and then now you get this ultimate thing. You get recognized a lot more. A lot less people like telling you that you stink. And at a place like UConn, so now you're following Coach Calhoun and Gino, and then Kevin Ollie, who won it too. You're going to coach at a place like UConn. You better be resilient. You better have thick skin. You better be really, really tough. I'm a really tough person because I think of the basketball journey.
We're good? I want to be on the stoop.
Oh, okay, good.
Later, brother.
Just like that. Oh, man. White Eagle Hall, this was everything right here. This was our daycare when we were real young. We practiced here at St. Anthony. It's where we had our practices and preparation for the season. Bob Hurley practice was just physically grueling, mental strain of mastering and being at your best for one of those 3-hour plus practices. You were challenged in every way.
I remember the first time I saw you, and I was with your mom and dad. You were in 8th grade. Your brother Bobby and Jerry, they were in 10th grade. They were playing up against 12th graders. Yeah. And you were on the team, and you looked like a 6th grader. They put you in against these grown men, and I said to your mom, I'm like, is he gonna be all right? She's like, he can handle it. He can handle it. Yeah, I remember it kind of like it was yesterday, right? Like Monmouth. That's where it was. Yeah, Monmouth. It was at Monmouth College, back before they were Division I. What does Jersey City mean to you? And it's almost synonymous with the Hurley name.
Yeah, I mean, Jersey City, it's your identity, it's your personality. It's the swagger and the attitude that for some people is off-putting, right? It's the sideline energy. It's being able to come back from adversity and being incredibly resilient. It's truly like having pride. I would love to be announced, instead of saying head coach, University of Connecticut, Dan Hurley from Jersey City, fighting out of Jersey City. because sometimes going into the games, I feel like I'm going into the ring.
It is so evident in you. It's such a part of who you are. And I hope you feel how proud everybody in Jersey City is of you and New Jersey, really. We watched this young guy grow up and do this in this great basketball family, and always with such humility, all of you. You know, Bobby's one of the best point guards ever to play in college basketball. Your dad, arguably, in my mind, the greatest high school coach ever. Explain to people that might not know what your father means to New Jersey basketball, and specifically Jersey City.
Inspirational leader that's touched the lives of so many young people in the great city of Jersey City and beyond. His presence as a coach and his impact as an educator and a leader, I think it raised the bar. I think his greatness put pressure on people.
I always looked up to him, still do. Growing up in the Hurley home, such a basketball-centric family, what were the challenges?
It was intense. I mean, my dad is incredibly determined, perfectionist, that was teaching you these incredible life lessons on behavior and mentality and standards, from a really young age. So it instilled, I think, a character, a drive, a competitive nature that I think for all of us at times gets the best of our emotions. My dad had us practicing every day. When we weren't practicing, me and my brother were at the park doing individual workouts, 2-ball dribbling. We were in practices when we were 7, 8, 9 years old. My dad's putting me and my brother into non-live practice, right?
White Eagle was as competitive as any of these games you're playing in.
We had a very unique upbringing in terms of just the commitment level, the sacrifices that we had to make. We didn't grow up with a lot. I think we were very aware that if we wanted to go to a major university, we were going to have to get a scholarship. And neither me nor Bob were going to get an academic.
You two are much brighter than you let people know, but I think it's becoming more apparent, but I get it. What does it mean to you to put the Hurley name on the college basketball national championship trophy?
That's incredible validation, I think, for my dad. Folks that really know basketball know that he's one of the great coaches that's done it in his generation at any level. We got a chance to share in it. It was awesome.
What did your dad say to you? What was the first thing? Do you remember after you won the championship when you met up with him, what he said?
I've never seen him like that. He's mellowed a lot, and he's shown more of that emotional, loving side of him, especially since he's retired. It was just I love you. I can't believe what you've accomplished. I can't believe that I was along with you for this. And anyone that knows him,
Wow.
has the look of shock on their face like you have.
Wow.
It's
not that I wouldn't think he's capable of that, but Bob Hurley is one of the toughest guys I've ever met. That's really cool to hear that he's able to get to that point. How about Bobby?
I remember seeing him just a great, brothers, spent our whole lives in the game, and he knows how big the moment is for me. My brother, with the incredible success that he was having as a player, he was always very protective of me when I wasn't measuring up to what he was doing. And he was very sensitive about it, and so big brother-like with how he would try to build my confidence or try to pump me up in a way. And now that a relationship has now evolved to great friends, and then we're each other's sports psychologist, executive coach, right?
Awesome.
I mean, we're our coaching tree with my dad.
Let's go back to your college career. You started 2 years with P.J. Carlesimo at Seton Hall, and then you had a little bit of a rough time. You took a year off, and you've always been so candid and open about that. What was that like, stepping away from the game for a year for you?
It was life-changing, life-saving. I was in a bad way in in every way. Everything was all wrong in just every aspect. Everything going on in my life, not living up to the Hurley standard, which was far above my current performance and production. I mean, the constant, comparison, right? Like, just nonstop. Bobby's brother, Bob Hurley Sr., son of, brother of.
And a foul called against Danny Hurley, the younger brother of the Duke point guard, Bobby Hurley.
It just chips away. It's a standard that's going to be impossible to get to, right? 7th pick, 2-time national championship, 3 Final Fours, all-time assist leader. And I had a really good career as a basketball player, but, almost like null and void. It got too heavy to the point where you're having those deepest and darkest thoughts about, not wanting to go on much longer. Never mind, never wanting to play again, just not feeling worthy to just continue on with your life because of it's your life's work and it's failing in a very public way. Locked myself in my dorm room for a couple days, not answer the phone, not go to practice, not eat, not drink, not sleep, and then, boom, that Monday, I need a break, everybody, and I don't care if you think it's weak. Sister Catherine, she really helped me more than anyone. I met her when I was at the worst part of who I was. Serious bouts of depression, serious bouts of anxiety. Getting to the point where you're going into some really dark places. I was just totally unable to function in any way. I was just lacking in any type of direction. Doing very intense counseling a couple days a week with Sister Catherine, where we just addressed a lot of things that I had no one in my life to talk about. They were very vulnerable things, and she's never gotten enough credit. Kind of like my wife, Andrea, like those two people that have helped me in my life reach my fullest potential.
What brought you back?
A number of things, at least back to the court, to want to play again. My issues were still my issues. I just, I eventually got to playing better, but I think Bob's accident, huge impact on me.
That happened while you were sitting out?
Yeah, initially that was bad for me because I wanted to switch places. I can't even get through a season at Seton Hall. Your brother, who's in the NBA, like NBA star, career just about to start to take off, he gets in the car accident. So I'm saying to myself, I should have been in the car accident. So that hits you first, and then you see him and you're like, all right, now I got a little bit of perspective. Maybe not playing that great isn't that big of a deal the same way. Just you see him and everything he's going through. And at least my perspective changed. I still had the off the court issues that didn't get resolved until I met my wife, but at least I wanted to get back on the court again and get back around basketball again.
That's really interesting. I didn't realize the timing of that. And George Blaney then became the coach at Seton Hall. George Blaney, from the same parish in Jersey City as your family, Jersey City guy. That junior and senior year, you were a really good player.
Yeah.
You were a really good college player. Was George Blaney a big part of that?
He was a difference maker in my life, and just a blessing to have played for PJ for a couple of years, all-time great coach. It still eats away at me a little bit that I never played close to my best for PJ. And seeing him in the tournament this year was like emotional, because I know that I didn't give him the best that I should have been able to give him.
Explain that to people, why that means so much to a guy that's a coach, that when you see your coach and you feel like you didn't give him what you're asking your players to give.
When you're not carrying your weight, when you're not holding up your end of it, like when you're one of the reasons why the team isn't as successful as it should be, and you have the talent to have been a difference maker and you weren't, that hurts.
Did you and PJ ever get to talk about that?
We did a lot during the tournament. this year.
This year, while you were going through the NCAA tournament?
Yeah. That was good for me, almost like therapy in a way, because it's something that I've bottled up for a lot of years. I loved playing for Coach. I loved my time at Seton Hall. It changed my life.
I enjoyed coaching Danny. He went through some tough times in the beginning, and for him to come back and what he's done as a coach is fantastic. Danny means a lot to me, and I think our time together was a big part of his life. Knowing him for so long and seeing the success he's had, it's really been a lot of fun to watch.
Growing up, having Hurley be your last name, you mentioned it chipped away, but it enabled you to be the coach at UConn, fight through a national championship run.
It's amazing how it flips, where it's this thing that, in a way, it disturbs you, it bothers you, it eats away at you, and it becomes just something that you have incredible pride in the fact that your brother was this great of a player, that your dad was this great of a coach. So something that haunted you for years now becomes this thing that you cherish about your family. All the experiences, right? What I've learned from Bob, what I've learned obviously from my dad, all these different ingredients, it molds you into a leader that can, that can lead in tough times and get the most out of your people.
I gotta think that the struggles you went through make you much more compassionate to the players you have when they go through struggles because of what you went through.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in every kind of position on a team. At the high school level, I was a big recruit and a driving force player, and then I was a bench piece. I was the first guard off the bench. I've struggled, and I've had some moments where I've thrived too. So I feel like I can relate to the whole roster in that way.
Benedict's on three. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
I've known Coach Hurley since the early 2000s. He was a high school coach at St. Benedict's. I was a high school coach at Rice High School, so we kind of found ourselves in the same circles. I've been proud to see him grow as a tactician, to grow as a game manager, to grow in every aspect of coaching. The sky's the limit for him.
Those St. Benedict days were important to you.
Yeah, that's where I really learned how to be a coach, learned how to be a leader. I wanted to run my program like it was an elite college program. The way that we practiced, the attention to detail, the standards, because I wanted to impress people when they came into our program and saw the level that we operated at.
That's interesting. You didn't give the impression that you were trying to impress anybody. That's very interesting. But you did. You did impress, I think, all of us who came in there. And all of us that knew you from those days are really proud of you. Like, do you feel that from older coaches who knew you back in the day when assistant at Rutgers, head high school coach, that you were so humble and hardworking that we're all really proud of you?
Yeah, I get that. I just remember so many times coaches talking about having been at one of my dad's practices and saying just how great the practice was, how much they learned at practice. I did not want folks going to a St. Anthony practice and then coming to a St. Benedict's practice and saying, like, how did that kid not learn anything from his old man? This guy's an idiot.
I still am in awe of your father. I'm still a little intimidated when I talk to your father. Did you ever get over that, or is he still that way to you?
It's still like that a lot. It is. I'm sorry for the long pause because it's complicated. I was scared to death when I was coaching high school. When J.R. Smith was shooting step back threes from 29 feet and 360 windmill dunks, I can't imagine like him rolling his eyes and shaking his head. Some of the stuff that I allowed early on in my career. One time early on at Wagner, I think we're up 2 versus St. Peter's at Wagner, me and Bob on the bench together first time. My dad comes to the game and up 2, we lose their last possession of the game. I think he told Bob on the phone, like, you guys are idiots. you guys are bad coaches.
Coming from it, that hurts.
I didn't call him after every game because I knew I had a lot of developing I had to do. And if I was getting the autopsy, like after every game, I wouldn't have developed my own identity as a coach. I would have tried to be my dad. So I'm using my dad more now than I did like when I was kind of trying to figure out who I wanted to be.
When I was coaching at Villanova, anytime I'd go to see your dad to recruit, I was always also just looking for wisdom. And he said to me one time, after I'd been offered a number of jobs and I didn't take them, he said, You know, I've always said certain jobs fit certain people. Like the Duke job fits Mike Krzyzewski. St. Anthony's fits me. That's why I've always stayed here. Villanova fits you. And I always remembered that. And I feel like UConn fits you. Has your dad ever said that to you, or do you feel that way?
Yeah, that's the advice I've always gotten him with any move I've made in my career, and he felt that way about UConn. I didn't immediately. You know, I loved Rhode Island. We were incredibly successful. We had incredible momentum in the state. I mean, my last 2 years there, winning games in the NCAA tournament, you know, winning the conference. It wasn't an easy decision to leave there. It's hard for you to leave places. It always has been. It was hard to leave Benedict's. It was hard to leave Wagner, and it was hard to leave Rhode Island.
Let's bring up our new men's basketball coach, Dan Hurley.
I'm obviously humbled by it, and the opportunity to lead this storied program is just the opportunity of a lifetime for me, so thank you very much.
It's fascinating. Thinking about you being out of basketball, does it make this national championship mean even more to you when you reflect upon it now that the season's over?
Yeah, I mean, you know, trying to work your way through the Rutgers firing, the going and coaching at the high school level. A lot of coaches don't get back to the college level. That's why I've always loved my career, you know, as a coach. High school coach, low major coach, mid-major coach. My ascension in coaching is kind of the way coaches used to have to do it.
Danny, you've been great, but I think we could do even better. Let's get the other side of the story, and let's bring in Andrea.
Hello, my love.
Hello. First, tell us how you guys met, how this happened.
It was a long
courtship.
courtship.
Oh my God, be quiet.
Andrea.
No, you are not, there's no courtship. I love telling the story because I was a freshman and he was a fifth-year senior. And one of my good friends was dating a basketball player, and she wanted me to hang out with all of them all the time. We were at a bar. She said, "This is my friend," who she told him about earlier, and he gave me a ride home. And ever since then, here we are.
You were a sophomore in college when you guys got married?
Yeah, going into my junior year. Yeah, and then we actually got engaged 6 months after we met, and then we got married almost a year to the day after that. It's because he was supposed to play in Europe, and he didn't want to go by himself. And when I went home to tell my parents that I'm going to go to Europe with Danny, my parents said, absolutely not. Like, you're not married, you're not engaged, you're not going anywhere. So I told him, and then we got engaged, and then we didn't even go to Europe.
Good Jersey City parents.
Yes, they are, yes.
I think that has a lot to do with why you two click so well. You got to have some Jersey City in you to be able to deal with a Hurley.
I mean, this right here, the perfect combination of kindness, nurturing, loving, but also like the Jersey attitude and the toughness to keep me in line. I knew the moment that I met her that she was going to really be the type of woman that would make me a better man. When I met her at Seton Hall, I was a bit of a mess, and you know, she never really gets enough credit for what I've turned out to be, because it's all because of her. Meeting this woman changed my life in college. We just started dating, and we're together hanging out in my apartment, and I didn't feel like I ever needed really to like retire from basketball. The career wasn't that great. I figured it could just like end, but I chose at that time, like, I wanted to spend more time with this woman, and I want to get into, I think, coaching at some point.
Did you know that then? Did you know that this was like a commitment to a new life for us as a coach and a coach's wife?
Let me tell you something, I'm not a sports person. I don't know sports at all. So I said, all right, you're supposed to be a good player, so I heard. You know, if you're not doing the next thing, what else is there? And he told me I have a love-hate relationship with the game. I love it, but I don't. And I'm like, well, what is that? What are we gonna do? And then he started coaching with his dad.
Andrea, then you were starting to get a taste for being a part of maybe the most high-profile basketball family in the country. Did you know what you were getting into?
No.
And then once you did, what was that like?
When he was an assistant, I didn't understand exactly what it entailed. Right from the second we got married, he was spending so much time in the video room. I was like, he doesn't even like me. We just got married and he never wants to be home. And then I realized this is not going to be 50-50. And I said to myself, he's not hanging out in bars. He's not going out with his friends. He's working. And he's doing this for his family, to be good at something for himself. And I said, like, I'm going to join his team and I'm going to be part of this job.
What's it like having Andrew there on the sidelines?
I look at her sometimes and she doesn't really understand the game that great in terms of the tactical aspects of it or what have you.
On purpose, I don't.
She doesn't want to know.
I don't want to know.
You turn around and you look at her and you're like down one, 30 seconds ago, and you kind of look at her and she's
no.
kind of like looking around. You're just kind of like what?
If you're down one, I pay attention. But if you're up by a lot or down by a lot, then you lost me.
One practice, I was like really on a guy back at Rhode Island, really, really hard. I was all over him, and I had Danny and Andrew at practice. They both went home and told on me, and she didn't talk to me for like 3 days because that was her favorite player.
I get it.
I said somebody's kid. It's a game. It's a game. And every time I say it's a game, he wants to like literally go crazy.
It's not just a game.
It's a game. I said, and these are children. These are young kids. You don't talk to kids like
But
this.
imagine where you keep him in line, because imagine where he would be if he wasn't hearing from you.
I say to those kids, we go through this together. Like when he's not with you, he's with me. So I'm just as much part of your team.
That's good stuff.
Let's get it going here for the title. Now the journey, it ends right here.
What was the NCAA run to the championship like for you personally?
First of all, not like I didn't have any faith in our team, but I mean, there's so many good teams. So he didn't even know Albany, Vegas, Houston. I would pack up the room because I didn't want to come back to the room after a loss and have all our crap everywhere. You never think that you're going to win. And, after I saw you guys, all of these teams that do win, I say, oh my God, they knew it. I see their wives, they're all nice. I didn't even get my hair colored. I had no new clothes. I will never do that again. I mean, I had nothing because I didn't expect that at all.
Meanwhile, Jay asked you like how much fun the whole thing was.
No,
and you turned it into like packing the room.
That was your experience.
It was my experience. And the further you go, the more petrified you are of the games. But it's been amazing. And honestly, it hits here and there.
Hurley and the Huskies have their dreams come true.
What about the final buzzer? Championship's over. Did you guys meet eyes? When did you get to connect?
Well, first of all, I didn't know my own kid had the ball at the end of the game because I was watching the clock. Because I have seen in all these years, I have seen the craziest things in the sport. So I knew there was a possibility, even though up that much. So I was just watching the score and the time. I didn't see my kid have the ball.
They couldn't make a 15-point shot.
They
Right?
could. I've seen it.
You have a great perspective. I can see why you're so good for Danny. Everybody knows him as this intense, maniacal coach. What's he like at home? What could you share with us that we wouldn't know about him at home?
Intense is not a good word for you. I would never describe him as intense off the court. Intense in a way of like everything he does 100%, which is annoying. He's a creature of habit, does the same thing every day, never kind of goes off of that. I mean, exercise, and he tries to make himself better every single day. And it's not like I don't, but I'm just not regimented and I just don't, it annoys me. So I think we're opposite like that.
That's awesome. I love that. Did you ever talk to Chris, Danny's mom, who was the ultimate coach's wife? Did you ever talk to her about what do I do here as coach's wife?
No, because I saw it. I saw what she did, but I also learned from her too. I didn't love it as much as she did. I don't love the intensity. I love being part of a team. If we can just have a team and a program without games, it would be amazing, because I love even recruiting. I love it all. It's too much for me. I'm not built for it. I'm just not.
You have to admit that's a great answer, because that's a great answer. If we could have everything, the recruiting, the family atmosphere, the development of kids, and just not have the games. What about for you, Andrea? What have you learned this year going through all of this that you can put into effect next year to help Danny, like you have to this point?
All I could say is that I've never felt this way. It's a weight lifted off that I've never felt in this job ever. This just feels so good. It's like you did this amazing accomplishment in your life, and knowing him, the family he's from, it just meant so much. I'm just so happy, and so my heart is so full that he got this. He was able to have this.
This is the home team right here. My lovely wife, Andrea, my oldest son, Danny, my youngest son, Andrew.
We have our family that's our team, we have our main family, and to be able to do this every year, just get bigger and add more kids to it, and to be able to come to a foreign land like this and have a bonding experience with my kids, it doesn't get any better.
What a great time for us to turn the page from the end of last season and get with that new group and really put our total focus on getting to know each other.
To have that kind of cultural experience at such a young age, who knows if they'll ever get to, tour the world like that and visit a place so unique with the rich culture and history and tradition.
Welcome. Today we're going to be making a bunch of different paellas together. And of course you guys are going to be doing that as a competition. So we're going to break you up into 3 teams and see who makes the best paella today. Let's go wash our hands and win the paella competition. Let's go!
You see the winning team right here, though.
Oh, I think that one of your chefs just got hurt. Lucas, Andrew, where's your garnish?
It's on trash.
He worked so hard on it, too. And now he's melting down.
This is a really new group, so to be able to share some time away from the court in another country, I think was great. Now you can see that bond just continue to grow and build as we get into the season.
And then my team ended up being the best. The fix is in. I bribed everybody.
Team number 4.
Just keep winning.
I've been nervous about these games here for probably a couple weeks.
It feels like November or December. There's no difference. The basketball things here, all right? Just being more physical at the point of contact. We just methodically break their will.
Win on 3, 1, 2, 3,
win!
It felt good to have that game day feeling of wanting to kind of throw up a little bit just because you're so anxious. It felt great to kind of be alive that way.
Having a chance to compete on a foreign tour and to be able to gauge where we are as a team and program, it's all been positive.
You just never know what your team's going to look like. You got to kind of see your team perform a bunch of times before you start to be a little bit more relaxed on game night, because that trust takes time to get earned.
It's like they all look like they've been playing together for years. I keep forgetting that they're babies, that they just came in, and it's a family already, so it's nice to see.
I think when you coach at a place with the history and the tradition and the commitment that UConn provides you with, you owe it to everyone involved that you legitimately look at what you have and say we're going to attack the opportunity and try to win it again and not hide from those expectations.
After Houston, the best feeling I felt was just getting back to work with the team, getting back in practice, just beginning to work towards that next success, that next team that's going to be all about what you're trying to accomplish together.
When we come in here every day, you would think, you know, we're coming off back-to-back seasons of losing in the first round.
Take the charge, Apostolus!
My biggest fear, just driving everybody crazy around me because I'm so hyper-vigilant about keeping complacency out of our culture and not being caught where you don't have your best season because you felt too good about what you accomplished.
Latin word for culture means what? Care. Care. You gotta care about UConn!
What are some of the challenges you foresee already starting the next year as national champion?
I think distractions, right? Complacency. As a coach, with the way that I run it, in terms of the culture, I think you're so aware of any cracks in the culture, right? Like a player's body language, you know, the energy level, right? Like all these different things that, you know, we just did at a championship level.
You've won the national championship now. Do you feel like you have a better chance to do it again, or do you feel, I know how hard it is and I'm more worried about doing it again?
No, I think I got a better chance. If I were to answer it honestly.
Good. That's interesting because I sometimes felt like the first time I felt like I know the breaks we got and I know how hard it was, but you dominated it. So you know how to get it to that point. So that's interesting.
In the back of my mind, I'm going to know that a team that I've led has won this thing before. And in terms of just, you know, your self-belief, which at times, you know, as long as you do it, it's still fragile. I think we're all in some way insecure as coaches. You never feel right.
What do you think's most critical for you this season, going into the season, to do it again? I know there's a lot of little things, but what do you think's the most important thing?
Yeah, to not act like you're in defense of something, right? To not consider yourself like a defending champion, right? This is obviously it's a completely different team. You know, in our bones and in our DNA now is a championship quality and some of the great players that will return. Yeah, I mean, overall, my message to the team is that we didn't have the season that we wanted overall. We wanted to win either the regular season or the conference tournament or both. And trust me, national championship, listen, that's the ultimate. But overall, we didn't get everything we wanted.
This was awesome, man. I appreciate you having me to your home, and I've learned even more about you, respect you even more. Thanks for doing this today.
I like this Jay better, right here. I like this Jay better. The one I had to coach against, I did not like. I like this Jay a lot better.
Hello, hello. Oh, we're all set. The bum is on the mic, Jimmy. Not a bad year last year. What do you think? This is UConn's first under Danny, and I think the first of many more to come.
We're just so excited to be in the mix for 6, and it's all recent history. At UConn, we're not holding on to a national championship that we won in 1960. We've done incredible things, and we've earned the basketball capital of the world here with 5 for us and 11 for our women's team within the last 30 years. No one's done close to that.